Hello. Hi, everyone. Good evening. How are you doing tonight? I'm glad to be back with you. I have enjoyed doing this short live stream series on what is keeping you from the pivot. There have been some good nuggets, if I do say so myself, and I hope that if you haven't seen the other two nights that you'll go back and watch on my page, part one and part two of this series. What is keeping you from the pivot? So I really hope that you if you've had an opportunity to watch, that you're gaining something from it, and if you haven't, that you will go back and make sure that you watch parts one and parts two of this. So I am Dr. Michele, and I'm your transformation strategist, and I assist professional women who are looking to go for the promotion or the career change, even start the business. I'm here to help women to be bold, and that is to break through every obstacle to lead in your destiny. And we do that by helping you to reconnect with your true self, by rediscovering your purpose and your passion, realigning with your values and your strengths, and then doing a reset so you can move from where you are to where you want to be with authentic confidence. All right. So I'm excited to work with women in this way. A lot of our obstacles are in our own mind, in our own thoughts, our ways of thinking. We have negative mindsets sometimes that, by no fault of our own, that have been instilled in us by things that have been said to us or experiences we've had. And so, breaking through those kinds of obstacles, really recognizing who you are and that you do have something to offer. So, in part one of this series, we talked about not needing, that the myth is that you need a degree. And we busted that myth, and we talked about you can sometimes even get in the position that you want, and the organization pay for the degree if they want you to have it, right? But I have students right now who work in their area of social work, social services, but they're getting the degree, and they already have the position they want. So it's possible. So it's not necessarily about the degree. You have experience, you have expertise, you have a skill set that can lend itself to that promotion or that career change that you're wanting. But you've got to bust that myth, bust that mindset that you have to have a certain degree to be able to do that. That can come later. And so the other thing that we talked about in part two was that mindset that I don't have what it takes. And I shared a story about when I started teaching, that I did that. I took on an adjunct teaching position as a as just an extra income because I had a full-time job, but I needed extra income. And I took it on just as extra income. And I go into this classroom and I'm, in front of these people with this material that I, seeing for the first time. And I did it. And I did it well. And God brought out that gifting in me, let me know that I had that gifting. And so it was my mindset that was making me think that I didn't have what it took. But I did have what it took, because now, here 20 years later, I am still um, teaching in higher education. And so you have what it takes. Again, you've got to break through the limiting beliefs and face the fears, get rid of the negative messages so that you can move past those things that are holding you back. So that is a myth that you don't have what it takes. You have what it takes, especially, this is how I know. If there's a passion in you to do it, if there's a desire in you to do it, God's gifted you, because he wouldn't have put it there if he hadn't, right? So that was part one and part two. But if you're joining me tonight, would you please put in the chat just where you're watching from and why you decided to listen in. Like, are you ready to go for the promotion and the change in your career? What made you decide to listen in on this? And if you're watching on the replay, please note that you're watching the replay. So, as I said, we've talked the first two nights about two myths: one, that you need a degree; two, that you don't have what it takes. So tonight's the myth that we're going to talk about is it's in who I know. It's in the people that I know, right? And again, I want to share something with you. So um, I think it was it was pre-COVID. And I met someone in my organization. She was just coming into her role. And we got a chance to meet and encounter one another and, hi, how are you? And again, your gifts kind of make room for you, right? That's what the word tells us. And so I met her, but didn't really, it wasn't like I was, looking for anything in particular. She was just new and I wanted to introduce myself. And so she asked me to be a part of this group that she was starting as a part of her role. And so I came along, joined really kind of essentially this committee, and just, worked with the committee, things that we had coming up. I made myself available, made myself a part of them. And her role actually expanded. So it got larger. And so the committee that I was a part of, she wanted to keep that work going. And so she developed a team of people to keep that work going. And I say that to say this: I didn't know her. I just introduced myself. And she asked me to come and be a part of this team. And then when I came to be a part of that team and I made myself available to do the work that the team was doing, it took me to a higher position, a leadership position on the team. So when we think it's who you know, it may be that it's who you get to know. It's putting yourself out there, and not in a way that you're trying to gain anything, but just being who you are, just showing up as your authentic self, just being in the room with people and communicating and interacting with people can open doors for you. So it's not necessarily that you have to know all the right people at all the right times and, well, I want to be a part of that, but I don't know anybody. How are you putting yourself out there, right? So one of the things that we talk about in the Bold Voice program is we talk about emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is being able to pick up on the emotions of others, but also honing in and knowing your own emotions, knowing yourself. And that's an important piece when you are trying to connect with other areas where you may want to promote, or with other careers that you may want to move into. So your networking, right? The networking is important. So that means you've got to put yourself out there, allow God to lead you into the places where He wants you, and your gift will open up the way for you. But one of the things that I had to do was I had to be able to operate in that space, right? And I know sometimes you feel maybe a little intimidated, like, oh, I don't know if I want to be, I don't know if I fit here or whatever. If you're in the room, you're supposed to be in the room. Your presence in the room brings a uniqueness to the room. And so it's not necessarily who you know, but it's in who you get to know. All right. So talking about emotional intelligence and how that will help you to move forward for the promotion of the career change and help you to be confident in the spaces that you find yourself. That's something that we talk about in the Bold Voice program. And we also talk about having a growth mindset. So every opportunity that you get, right, it's an opportunity for growth. Use it as such. It might not necessarily go the way you want it to go, but what are you to learn? What can you learn from it? So if any of that resonates with you, I want you to get on that Bold Voice discovery call with me. And it's in the link in the comment. If not, I'll make sure that it gets in the comment link so that we can talk about how I can partner with you and come alongside you so that you get all the tools you need to be able to go for that promotion or change your career with confidence, right? So, one of the things that I'll say, what I've kind of alluded to already, is that put yourself in position, volunteer for the committees, volunteer for the task force, volunteer for the special projects. Make yourself available so that people get to know who you are and see your gifts and your talents. You know, sometimes we want to hide and we want to sit back, but when you put yourself out there, you would be surprised. And I've done this because I've had to be on committees and task force and things like that in the work that I do. Not always um, voluntarily. Sometimes I was appointed, but I've been elected to committees and I've been elected to different task force. And it's because I put myself out there, right? And it's not me. It's the God in me. It's what He presents to other people, the parts of me that He presents to other people, so that the gifts that I have are on display. And He will do that same thing for you. So volunteer. That's my tip to you. Volunteer. Say if there's a task force or something they're working on, say, hey, I'd like to be a part of that. And that's where that growth mindset comes in because it's an opportunity to learn. Okay. So that's my tip to you as you think about this whole thing of it's who you know. It's not who you know, it's who you get to know. But you've got to be able to put yourself out there to do that. So, again, if any of this resonates with you, please click on the link and schedule that Bold Voice discovery call so we can talk about how we can partner together. And I can help you before the end of this year if you're ready to get that promotion, to change up the career, to move forward in the places that you're destined and designed to be. Because I believe that with all my heart, that there's a destiny and a designated place that God has for you in His work, in His kingdom, through your workplace or through the work that you do, because you may decide that you want to be an entrepreneur, and that's even all the better, right? So that's what I want to encourage you with tonight. Myth number 3, we're busting that it's in who you know. It's not in who you know. It's in who you get to know. It's in putting yourself out there. So thank you, Marie, for joining me again tonight. Atlanta in the house. And she said that I share words of wisdom, and I thank you. That's so kind of you to say that. But I hope that this has been helpful. And I hope that you'll think about as you are ready to go for your promotion or change your career, what are the things that, I need to do to build my confidence so that I will show up in the room in confidence, put myself in the places that I need to be so that when it's time for that promotion or that career change, you're top of mind. People are thinking about you, right? All right. So, again, this is part 3 of what's keeping you from the pivot. And if you've missed part 1 and part 2, please go back to my Facebook page or my LinkedIn profile page and make sure that you watch parts 1 and 2 of what's keeping you from the pivot so that you can make the pivot to this next level: promotion, career change, starting your business, whatever it is that you're ready to do. And I'm ready to partner with you and help you. So make sure that you click on the link and schedule your Bold Voice breakthrough call and we can discuss how we can work together, how I can support you in your next level move. All right. Hey, you guys have a great night. It's the middle of the week. Hump day is almost over. So we're headed toward the end of the week. I hope it's been a great week so far. I've appreciated you listening in. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow evening for the conclusion of the matter of what is keeping you from the pivot, our final myth that we're going to bust. All right. Dr. Michele here signing off. I will see you tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for joining me. Good night.